God for you. Thank God. Thank God.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Reeds drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good.
Hello and welcome to La La Land on LA Talk Live. That's Dorothy Dillingham Blue.
And there's Brett Chapin. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to be back.
Thanks for joining us on La La Land. This is the only nationally broadcast show by Los Angeles artists about Los Angeles artists on episode 173, I think, or 174.
Somewhere along those lines.
Yeah. We've had so much time off lately. I'm losing track of the episode numbers.
It's crazy.
Yeah. This is the first, we were talking before the show, this is the first show that we've had in like 3 weeks where we're actually in the same room.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I had to
welcome
go
back,
like,
Dorothy.
Thank you. I had to escape to Arizona. Thank you very much. To calm down after from my crazy summer. So
Yeah. I'm sure a well-deserved and good vacation.
very much. Yes.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. We got a really nice email. Did you see this?
I did. That was really cool.
Isn't that cool?
Why don't you read it out for everybody?
I don't have it in front of me.
Well, then dagnabbit. I'll look it up.
Yeah, you have it on there. There's a
It's
quote on there. Yeah, we got a really nice email from an LA theater producer this week, and it was very much appreciated. They said some kind words about the show, and it's great to hear that kind of thing because we do this for the love of theater.
We really
honestly.
do.
I mean, it's not like we're making millions of dollars doing this. So
We're making no dollars.
yeah. What's 100% of zero?
Right. Yeah. Oh,
But-
here it is. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
What does it
Let me
say?
put on the glasses here because
Yes.
aging is awesome. It says, "What amazing dedication you have, Brett and Dorothy, to the theater community. How much work it must be putting on all those shows and gathering guests and producing interesting segments. Thanks so much for all you do."
Very nice.
We appreciate it.
I mean, I think that we deserve to spend a couple minutes tooting our own horn because that's all the payment we get around here.
Yeah.
So thank you to that LA theater producer who shall remain nameless. We appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you,
man,
Ben Eric.
I appreciate you guys every week that y'all come here. I get educated in the theater every week.
There you go.
So
Thank
you can't put a price on that.
You really can't. And also because I think we can be heard and seen nationwide, I think we have guests that can answer questions that actors or creatives from other towns might be wondering about and don't have the access to those sources. I think we're valuable. We should be part of your education.
Yeah, it brings me to. I could take my date to some place that I could show I got some class.
There you go. See, we're going to help your career and your social life. We're going to help all of it
There
right
you
there.
go.
Yeah.
Here on La La Land.
Help us help you
Help us help
on
you.
La La Land. Very cool. So, yes, thank you to that LA theater producer. We got to see Streetcar Named Desire a couple of weeks ago.
Did. That was a lot of fun.
At the Lonnie Chapman Group Rep.
It was. And,
Yeah.
I'm of course I'd read it a long time ago and I still, I guess, knew what was going to happen. But I got to say, there was something so immediate about all the performances that I was going, I wonder what's going to happen next. I mean, I know, I read it, but there was something about the way that they were physically embodying their characters, especially Stanley, the actor playing Stanley.
Yes.
I literally didn't know what part of the scenery he was going to tear next? And I mean that in a good way, not in the scenery chewing matter, but actually, was there going to be chicken flying across the stage? I don't know. I'm not real sure. And I thought Blanche was pitch perfect. She just, I whenever I see a show that's with Southern characters, of course I'm going to, come in with a little more of a critical eye. And I thought she really knew Blanche. She knew that woman, and there are a lot of themes explored in that play that are very modern and could be ripped out of an LA Times or a local newspaper today.
Definitely.
And for Tennessee Williams to tackle that when he did is pretty amazing.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
I read it back, in high school, and then I read it again a few months ago, and
Yeah.
I too was kind of like, what's going to happen next? Because they were very in the moment. Stella, Blanche, and Stanley were all very, very good, and it's nice when you have the three leads and they're all good.
Yes.
Sometimes you go to see a show and like two of the three are good, or maybe, but yeah, all three of them did a great job.
And I thought the director did a really great job with working in the ensemble roles and making it an environment that you were in. I didn't feel like there was as much separation between stage and audience, that he was, without it being campy. I thought he worked that in, that you really felt you were in this environment to learn about this new world, so that you felt you were just joining this world as Blanche was, because it was something very, when you walked in and the people were around you, and I love that the curtain speech was in Spanish.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was a great touch.
Very cool.
Really, because it was one of the, okay, I have to learn how to communicate and listen in a whole new way.
Yeah.
Even if it is subtitled for me with signs,
Yeah, I love the scene where the newspaper collector comes in and talks to Blanche.
Yes.
That guy, he had one scene and he was directed very well.
So
he was
well.
very calm and very
very simple.
Very simple.
Simple.
Yes.
You don't have to
That's
overdo
what
everything.
actors don't understand. A lot
The
of actors don't
simplicity.
understand. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to see you acting.
If we see you acting, then there's a problem.
Yeah, simplicity is good. Yeah. So congratulations to them at the Lonnie Chapman Group Rep. Go see Streetcar Named Desire. It's running through, I believe, the middle of September.
Yep.
There's still lots of time left to go see it.
And just open from our friend James Esposito over at Chromaloom is Bird Lives. That's over at the Attic.
Nice.
So
What's
that
that
just
about?
opened.
Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
Okay.
I just know it opened, and he's a friend of our show.
All right. So go see it.
And that's what we do here.
Yes.
We give.
We sure do.
We give our time.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything? We have Black Coffee is opening September 5th
Black
at
Coffee.
Theater Palisades.
TheaterPalisades.com for any information on that. That's going to be a good show. I got to watch the rehearsal the other night.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's going to be good.
Cool.
Yeah. Very high energy, good accents. The male lead in that is excellent. I think it's going to be really good.
Nice.
Yes. Our friend Phil Apione from You Can't Take It With You is in it. I don't know if you met him, but anyway.
I don't think I met him.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was a while
going
ago.
off on my own personal tangent. Yeah.
Okay. That's all right.
Yeah. What else is going on? We have here today Rob Nagel
We do.
from the NTS Theater Company.
Yes. We are fellow Northwestern graduates, and I think we connected at brunch at and I was like, hey, you went to Northwestern. Oh, yeah, you went to Northwestern. It was one of those
Nice.
deals.
Nice.
So we will talk to him about the academy offerings that they have coming up, as well as the new season. They have really neat stuff.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear what they have coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
And then I want to take as an audiobook narrator, I wanted to send my condolences to the family of Bob Dion. He was a prolific and very supportive member of the audiobook community. He and his wife have studios and work to educate and provide production space for people just starting out, people who are well established. And he was diagnosed in February of last year with ALS, with Lou Gehrig's disease, and he, his finally had some peace this week. So our hearts are out to his family. Thank you for all you have done. And I know there's the ice bucket challenge going around right now, and no one has challenged me yet. And so I am putting it out there. I will complete the ice bucket challenge on air on Saturday, if someone challenges me, I will do it right there. Right there. So challenge me and I will do it and donate, because that's the way it is supposed to go. It's not that you just douse yourself, that you also donate. And I look forward to doing that. So tweet it, Facebook, whatever, send me a challenge and I will happily do it. My brother died of ALS when he was only 42. It is a devastating disease. There's a lot of talk about how it's a rare disease, so why do we need to, not that many people have it. Well, if it's your brother or your friend or your community member, wouldn't you care? And so I care, and that's what I want to do. I want to shower in some ice. So.
How are we going to pull that off here without completely wrecking the place?
Well,
like, are you going to stand in a bucket or something?
Yeah, I've already thought about that. So I have a plan in place. So don't worry, I won't make too much of a mess. But yeah.
Because I what's that?
Well, we also gonna do it. I'm gonna do it that Sunday.
Okay.
We're gonna go out in the
Awesome.
parking lot, and it's gonna be 5 of us.
Nice.
We're going to go ahead and do the bucket thing and try to get a couple of angles where we can do it while our plane is even flying over.
Oh.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so
The planes fly very close here at LA Talk Live.
yes, they do. Yes, they
Every
do.
once in a while, I'm like, please don't hit my car.
Here's the problem I have with the Ice Bucket Challenge. Okay, people are doing it and not donating. The idea is to donate.
Exactly. The bucket part is for the entertainment and to kind of make it viral. But that doesn't mean that you do it in spite of, instead of donating. And so, like I said, I'm not only doing the Ice Bucket Challenge, I will also be donating.
Yeah, I think if you do the Ice Bucket Challenge, you are allowed to donate a little less or something, but you should still be donating.
You should still be donating.
Yeah. I have been challenged.
You have?
I have. And your willingness to do it has made me think that maybe I should do it on Saturday too.
All right.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Mike Peralta, it's on.
Oh, Mike Peralta.
Mike Peralta challenged me.
Ooh,
So,
I like it.
We'll do it live on air on Saturday. That'll be
Exactly. That'll be really cool.
fun. Maybe we should do it at the end of the show, just so we're not sitting here soaking for the whole show. But it'll be fun.
Did you really think I wanted to do it at the beginning of the show, Brad?
Well, I don't know. You got all kinds of weird ideas. I thought maybe that would be one of them. But
I'm full of weird ideas. But yeah, so
this is good.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, we'll go halvesies on a couple bags of ice.
There we go. It should only take one bite. It's not all ice. It has to be the water too. So
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
I like it.
Oh boy, what the things we get into on this show. Isn't it about time for our flu shot too? It's
I think we need to have her in earlier this year.
Yeah, we should.
First with the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we might want to just talk to you, Jill Colin from CVS Pharmacy.
Yes. A little earlier. And I'll take a pneumonia one while you're at it too.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah. We won't have this air conditioner on for next week's show.
No.
It'll be a little warmer in here. Cool.
That would be gnarly.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting show next week.
Yeah.
All right. In addition to our amazing guest, Ben Hill, founder and executive director of the Hollywood Fringe Festival, we're going to be dumping ice on ourselves. So cool.
Good stuff.
All right.
All right.
You want to just do a quick preview of a couple of the guests that we have coming up?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so September 20th, we have Doug and John from the LA Theater Network, the newly formed LA Theater Network. Doug Clayton and John Rivera, they're going to be talking to us about one of their main goals at the LA Theater Network, and I think this is a good one. They want to have actors be paid $25 a performance minimum.
Really?
And they're really pushing that, and I think it's great.
Hey, well, you know my whole thing of like if I can't pay for a ticket to the show that I'm in, that's a little strange.
Yeah, very much so. So, we're going to have them coming in and talking to us, telling us all about what's going on with the LA Theater Network. We're going to have Shanna Ochoa back on, talking to us a little bit about Stella Adler and what she's been doing with her biography that she wrote of Stella Adler.
Yeah.
So it's pretty big September. We've got some
Cool.
good guests coming up.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
You want to, take a break?
Yeah, we'll take a break and we'll be back with Rob Nagel.
And if you want to find us, you can go to facebook.com/LaLaLandTalk, Twitter at twitter.com/LaLaLandTalk, or you can send us an email at lalalandtalk@gmail.com. And if you have any questions for Rob, artistic director and co-artistic director at Antaeus Theater Company. Give us a call at 323-473-3100, 323-473-3100. We take questions on Twitter, too.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back on La La Land with Brett and Dorothy on LA Talk Live.
I was wondering, if you could keep on, because the force, it's got a lot of power, and it makes me feel like it makes me feel like
Welcome back to La La Land on LA Talk Live. I'm Brett Chapin. That's Dorothy Dillingham Blue.
Sure is. And right there we have Rob Nagel.
Hi,
Welcome.
everybody. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, thanks for the applause.
That studio audience is just so nice.
They're very warm.
Yes.
They are. They are very responsive.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Rob.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
I had a few things from your last conversation that I wanted to throw out there because I started going, oh, wait, I know something there.
Yes.
Bird Lives,
Yes.
the show about Charlie Parker.
Charlie Parker.
So if you're interested in that one or interested in Charlie Parker, go out and check it out. And you'd also mentioned Bob Dean.
Yes.
Bob and Deborah were our season angels at Antaeus this year, so we lost not only a great supporter but of the audiobook community, but a great supporter of our theater. And so, yes, the Ice Bucket Challenge has been circling our theater as well as me. I got doused about a week and a half ago, and then we doused the company with a bunch of scripts the other day, the drought-resistant version. So if you do the Ice Bucket Challenge, stand over a plant that needs it.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Or something. You know, that's one option. Do it however you want to. The awareness is all.
Yes.
And if you look at the numbers for ALS, I think they just hit $62.4 million. Which was as opposed to 2.4 last year during the same time period. And they have apparently like 1.2 million new donors. We hope they return. But yeah, for someone who can speak firsthand from ALS, it's such a terrible, devastating disease.
It is. It's being locked in a body that is not cooperating, and it strikes brilliant minds who are ready physically to bring out so much joy into the world, and something about this disease just decides to shut those doors. And so hopefully with the challenge and the awareness and more research, we'll be willing to unlock those doors.
Would be wonderful.
Yep, sure would.
Great
Anyway,
first step with the challenge and the way it's going. It's a great
Yep.
first step. And
Great first step.
Good.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had to say that because I was so excited about two things that you talked about.
Yeah, cool. Yay.
Charlie Parker and ALS,
There
which
you go.
doesn't usually come in a sentence together.
Not so much, but here we are.
Welcome to La La Land.
Yes.
Thank you.
These things happen.
It does. Yes.
So you are the. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and I was just going to say probably the same thing. So you're the co-artistic director for the Antias Company, and you've been
Yes.
doing that, you said, like 3.5 years?
It's about 3. Yeah, I think we're closing in on that. It feels like longer, but yes.
And there's 3 of you.
There are 3 of us. Bill Brocktrip and John Sloan and I are merrily and boldly leading our way through.
And we've had Bill. Was it Bill that's been on the show before?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So he's been on, and so for anybody who isn't aware of the mission or what Antias is going for in the theater world, can you enlighten them?
Sure, I'll try. Antias is a classical theater company, but we're curious about exploring stories with enduring themes. So we're trying to break down what the idea of classical theater might be.
Sure.
By doing things either in a new way or things that haven't been discovered.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of trying to cross the genre of classical theater and show you why these stories do endure.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say you do classical theater in a new way, can you maybe throw out a couple of examples of
Sure.
times that you've done that?
We just closed a production of the Oedipus myth called The Curse of Oedipus by Kenneth Cavender, directed by Casey Stengel. And the idea was, which had started at Williamstown many years ago, he took the Oedipus myth and decided to put it into 2 different nights. We decided to put it into 1 night, and we had some people who loved that idea and others who said, we want 3 nights. But you're always going to satisfy the masses that way. We took basically Oedipus Rex, Oedipus at Colonus, and Antigone, and told the story of the curse of the family through the course of 1 evening. And so you got 2.5 hours of stage time showing the myth of Oedipus and what that's about. And it's Greek tragedy. Just the attempt is something to be applauded, I always think. So we do something like that, or we'll do a more modern classic. Earlier in the season, we did Carol Churchill's Top Girls, which I'd heard there was a regional theater convention last year, and one of the artistic directors said, well, we can't do, all these women's plays that we can't. I mean, you can't do Top Girls. It's so dated. Well, I can tell you, it's not. It's as current and as painful to experience, particularly for women in the workforce, to see it now. So, why do a play from the early '80s? Well, because we're big fans of Reagan and Thatcher. No, because the stories are still there to be told.
Right.
So, trying to find a new way into an older text. Try to do Shakespeare. We did the Scottish play a few years ago and relied very heavily. Some people hated it. Some people loved it. Very heavily on the idea that the line, I have given suck and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me, to us indicated that there was a child in the past between the couple and the grief. Jessica Kobzanski directed it, and we thought the idea of grief and that kind of searing grief could cause this noble couple to go down this horrible, bloody path. Not everybody likes that version. But that's okay to try to invent it in a way that might resonate with someone,
Hey,
whether it's you or not.
You're doing something different. I think that's important.
Trying to, because it's easy to dust off an old play.
Yeah.
We've all seen dusty versions of an old play.
Right.
Sure.
And you wonder, well, that was good. It's a good play. You want people to say, I had no idea that play worked.
Right. These ideas that it takes fresh eyes or a collaborative effort to bring a new voice, to bring this new ideas that maybe were kind of buried in the text, or people just didn't look that closely before. And you also, the company it does something very unique with its casting.
Yes,
partner
we do.
casting. It's called partner casting?
We call it partner casting, yes. We basically have two actors, two equally gifted actors playing the same role. So you rehearse together, and just before Tech Week, you are split up into separate casts, but then we'll mix and match through the course of the run. So for the audiences that want to see a particular actor, good luck.
Right.
It's always a blender. You never know. We do have some kind of structure to it, but
Sure.
you're always working with fresh faces. You'll show up on a Thursday and say, "Oh, you're on tonight. We haven't done a show in like 10 days or something. Let's do a show."
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like the understudy panic every night.
Every night.
So you have to be prepared. You have to be invested in it, and it's a pretty interesting way of working. I was a real detractor. Thought, what's the point?
Sure.
If it's such a great idea, why doesn't everybody do it? And then I realized that a lot of our company members work a lot, and we'd be canceling shows if we didn't
Of course.
have some way.
I think that's something that a lot of, because you also work extensively in television, and Rob is the counselor, the dad. You do all those awesome.
The doofy dad,
Right?
the
Yeah.
one that sits on the camcorder before vacation.
Right.
I'm a working class stiff. I'm sometimes a jerk attorney.
Oh, right.
Sometimes a serial killer. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, you
I don't
get
know
to
if
do all kinds of fun stuff.
I think it's either that I have range or that they don't know where to put me. Either way, I'll take the work. It's fine.
Yeah. You'll still accept the paychecks.
Just
Right.
fun.
There
Right.
we go. Look, we have our friend Phil Abrams who's come to the show before, and I asked him, I'm like, have you been like in a room sometimes with Rob Nagel? He goes, I think I know Rob Nagel. But that's the thing. It's like it's that. Those roles that we always need, and you have to have somebody solid. And I think somebody who can jump in and do something like they do at NTS and be like, oh, it's you today. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
Because if
right.
you're not flexible, you have to be malleable when you're an actor and going onto any set, any stage. Otherwise, you're going to be too locked in, and there's nothing to do with you.
Absolutely. You need to have a car backfire right next to you and not flinch. You need to be able to continue going because the take might be important or the audience experience might be important. Yeah. Actors that don't shut down, they just keep going through.
Right.
It's fun. But yeah, partner casting is one thing that we do there. And
And as far as I know, you're the only theater in Los Angeles that does it that way, right?
we're the only one that does it regularly.
Yeah.
And there have been some calls in the company to, hey, let's try it, single casting. And so we may try to investigate that one day. But we are the only one that consistently does it, yeah. Crazy.
It's funny reading your programs, too, because you'll have the name of the role and then a different name on the
different
right
name
left
on one
side.
or the other side, exactly, yes.
Interesting idea
Yeah.
you guys do out there.
Sort of started as a point of necessity because it's a town where a lot of work comes when you don't expect it. And so it started as sort of an economic necessity, it seemed to be, but it's now developed into an ethos, which
Yes.
is interesting.
That's
It's an
great.
interesting one to work with.
How long has NDS been around?
It's been around since it's 23 years now. It started a long, long time ago. I think it was 1991. I wasn't yet born, so I don't know exactly about the history.
Of course. Yeah.
No, the company's been around for well over 20 years, but they've only been producing regularly for the last 4 or 5 years.
And you just moved into a new space in North Hollywood, right?
We've been there for some years ago. I think I don't remember. That was before I had joined the company. Had shared the space that Def West occupied for many years on Lancashire Boulevard, 5112, so south of Magnolia, north of Camarillo. And it's a 49-seat theater, and it's pretty wonderful, intimate space. We're always bursting at the seams for space, and
Sure.
someone wants to do a reading, another one wants to do a class, someone has a rehearsal. We just, we need more space. I think that's the struggle of the theater everywhere.
I think so too.
Will that be the next step? You think you're going to move on to a bigger space?
We're
at some
looking.
point?
We're looking at the possibility because we can only grow so much, and in the space we have right now. We have classes upon classes upon classes with the academy, which is very nice and wonderful. But we also have to rehearse and produce shows and make sure that the company membership, if they want to sit down and listen to A Streetcar Named Desire one afternoon, that they can have a space to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, speaking of the Academy, it's just been published what the offerings are going to be for the fall. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we're starting the fall term. We have a spring, a summer, and a fall, and it's sort of an a la carte menu of whatever might be interesting to those professional actors in Los Angeles who might want to tap back into their roots. And so we have 5 classes that we have coming up. I'm finishing one from the summer term that was just 12 weeks on Sam Shepard, which has been kind of mind-blowing and wonderful.
Did you have Mary Poole? Who was your teacher?
I didn't. I worked with Mary Poole. I was with Bud Byer.
Okay.
But all the Northwestern folks, thank you, Mary Poole. Thank you, Bud Byer. Thank you, David Downs.
Yeah.
They're, and I'm missing, another 100 people who I'm getting in trouble for. But
That's right.
yeah, I
Because we did a lot of Sam Shepard in her class. She was big on that.
It's been a fun and crazy summer.
Yeah.
Last class I came home with a bag full of corn because we had a buried child scene and he needed to shuck corn. So I boiled about 10 corn cobs, and I've been eating a lot of corn. You may have noticed this week. Anyway, Sam Shepard finishes up. We've got the new term coming up. I'm going to do a class on Tennessee Williams and William Inge, investigating specifically sexuality and the repression of desire and maybe a little alcoholism. Sounds like a fun way to spend the fall.
Hey, I have bullet bourbon, so I'll just come along.
Just got a bottle yesterday.
Nice.
Finished it. So a comedy class where we'll be investigating everybody from Kaufman and Hart and Tom Stoppard and Alan Ayckbourn and probably A.R. Gurney and Neil Simon, just trying to figure out like how this kind of play works, because it's the basis for the sitcom. And remember, we're still doing those.
Yes.
There's also a class that we're investigating Irish writers, because the Irish seem to know how to write. So they'll go from Joyce and O'Casey and Singh right into Brian Friel and McDonough and Martin, Marina Carr, Enda Walsh. Billy Roche. We want to investigate a lot of these Irish writers. And then we've got a Shakespeare, of course, because we always start there. We always have a Shakespeare offering of some kind, whether it's a focus on the voice or a focus on the scansion or the rhetoric in Shakespeare. There's also a class that we're doing, which is kind of a very new one. We started something called the Playwrights Lab earlier this year with a writer named Ed Napier, and we've been getting together and having writers sit down with actors and work new text. So we're working with Living Writers, which is a classical theater company. We've never done that. All of our writers are dead. We're working with Living Writers. And we decided to develop a class based on that. So we'll have the idea of working with a writer in the room on a new text, which of course happens in television and film all the time.
All the time.
And it's so exciting when it happens in the theater too. So we're going to get a bunch of directors to come in and guest moderate. We've got, I think, Larry Biederman and Casey Stengel will come in. And we've got writers who we're hoping to have in there, Sarah Gubbins and Stephanie Walker.
Sarah?
We got Sarah, right? Sarah Gubbins, Stephanie Walker.
Oh my God, Sarah?
Sarah, there you go, Brett. Jamie Brandley, Terrence Anthony, Mickey Birnbaum. I'm hoping that Aaron Posner and Teresa Rebeck can join us, but their schedules are crazy busy.
Just a little.
Just a little. Please, Aaron.
Please.
Please, Teresa. Anyway, the idea of the class is called "It's Alive," along the lines of the writer's alive. What do we do now?
Yeah.
The monster's in the room. Let's work with them. So, for actors who haven't really experienced what it's like to work with a writer who goes home after your rehearsal and rewrites your scene based on what happened that day, you get to kind of experience what that freshness tastes like.
I think that's a valuable experience for an actor. I've developed three plays with Theater Palisades Youth. So working with young actors with the playwright in the room and having them all of a sudden like burst out or go, oh my gosh, or come back the next day with new pages, new lines, new directions. And it's amazing to watch them, because some actors are fine with it. They're like, okay, let's go. But you also have to have the director that's willing, that's able to kind of keep the peace and make sure that the structure stays. Because I've seen productions before where you could tell like there was a lack of communication between the director and the writer, and so I think you have that collaboration has to be there as well. It's smart to have the director as a moderator because sometimes
you
that's
need
the
somebody
one who talks.
Oh yeah, absolutely, or decides, which is great too.
Yeah.
I got to work with Sam Hunter down at South Coast Rep earlier this year on his new play Rest.
Yes, Rest, yeah.
And I'm going to run off to Denver Center Theater Company early next year to do a new play by James Still called Appoggiatura. And I forgot, having been working in a company that has a lot of dead writers, I forgot what it's like to have a living writer and have them in the room. And I'm so excited by this. I want to take the class actually, but I'm just excited again by being with the writer in the room. So thank you, Ed Napier, for the Playwrights Lab. It's kind of revived a little part of me that I'd forgotten about, and hopefully for our company as well.
So now, how would somebody get involved if they want to get involved with NTS?
I wish NTS had an actual rule book that I could tell you that. I have no idea. I found my way into it after working 12 years, running into folks from NTS on sets and in different theaters, and by the time I did a reading with them, I knew a bunch of them. And I think by that point, I've sort of proven myself over time. So I like to say it took me 12 years to find my way into the fold. And I'm not a joiner anyway, so I don't know how it happened. And other times we've met people through the academy classes. We've met people when we've found a hole in a casting for a production, and we say, okay, who could we bring in for this? And you bring a bunch of people in, and whoever, we have a guest artist come in, and then we get to know them that way. But how to get into the company? There's no way in. I don't know how to get in. I don't know how to advise it.
Somebody listening to the show right now, if they want to, send you guys an email.
Well, check out our website, antaeus.org. That's ANTAEUS.org. And if you forget Antaeus, go look up the Greek titan that Hercules killed. You'll remember that. But if you look up antaeus.org, there's a whole bunch of ways to contact us through the general email or through the academy email, or come see our shows. We have a very open door policy about, come check us out in previews, get a $15 ticket to a preview and see what we do.
And do they need to be a company member in order to take the classes?
No, not at all. Not at all. Those are wide open to everybody. We've had basically, I look at it as this: we're a resource for professional actors who, when they feel stuck in Los Angeles, have a place to go where they can work out those muscles that have either atrophied or that they forgot they had. So there's no, it's an open door policy. We have an audition process where we basically get to know you and you get to know us, and that's the first step of it. I've taught. I did a class about a year and a half ago with a 16-year-old girl and her mother, both who wanted to take the class, and another class where a woman in her 70s was taking the class.
Yeah.
So it's kind of incredible how the range that we can draw in with the right kind of curriculum.
And you have a couple.
No, go ahead.
You have a couple of different levels. You have an A1 class. You have A2.
A1's a steak sauce, but there's basically what happened was I believe, and this was before my time as well. The company itself was. I don't know how I got into it because it's an illustrious group. The company itself was its own kind of thing. And then we had a lot of members of the academy who were kind of hanging around, and they might not have yet achieved the credits in the regionals or Broadway or in film or television to let them make the jump into the company. But we wanted them around, and we wanted a place to keep the racehorses, essentially. They got to be in the stable. So I think what happened was A2 was created. And it's a company of emerging artists, and they're
up and comers.
Up and comers is like I like to look about them, and they're part of our community. They're part of our family, so they have the same. We are a dues-paying organization, but it's not a lot. But they pay the same. They initiate projects in the same way. So we'll find that sometimes we have projects that come up for possible production that some are company members, some are A2. There's no distinction there. So it's just a kind of a different, I guess you call it under the umbrella of Antaeus. There's the ensemble, which is a bunch of old people like me who manage to work in other places to say, oh yeah, bring them in. And A2 is another. The academy is a subdivision, which is sort of just part of our education, our arts education thing. That's for the professionals.
And I think that's a piece of training, and the fact that you're doing it in the 3 semesters or 4 semesters or however you do it is so smart, because I know when I first got here there was a lot of talk about you should join an acting class, and that's where you go every week with the same group of people and the same dude sitting on the chair,
right?
And I understood that, but having come from an education like we had at Northwestern, where you are with the same people for 3 years.
For 3 years, right.
In a studio, basically, with the same professor, I was ready to take everything and learn something new. Like I didn't feel like I needed that shelter anymore. And so that's why I tend to go for, a workout group or things like that, because I want to not only learn from the person that's quote unquote teaching the class,
Mm-hmm.
but also from the ensemble of people around me, because that's how you're going to be acting. It's not you're acting with your teacher all the time.
I think that's really wise because I think there are as many methods as there are actors.
Oh.
So as soon as you get latched into one, you're going to find yourself not using all the tools that could be in your toolbox.
Yeah.
So how do you expand that? You work with different people. You work with different methods. You work on different material. You keep mixing it up so that you get stronger in any environment. And along the idea that Aeschylus, I'm going to pull an Aeschylus quote on
Please
you.
do.
But it's
Please
part of our
do.
mission.
Yes.
It is always in season for old men to learn. And the idea is, look, you thought you knew everything. Guess
No.
what? You don't.
You're not done. You're never done as an artist. You're never done.
The last term of classes, Mike McShane, who I don't know if you know Mike. I'm a fan of his from the Whose Line Is It Anyway, from the British version.
Oh, okay.
Back with Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles and Mike
Colin
McShane.
Mockery.
Yeah. Well, Mike is a member of the company.
Okay.
And so, we saw him one year. He was playing Soren in The Seagull. And then he said some months ago, he said, hey, I think I was teaching a class for the company. I said, you're going to teach an improv class for the company? I'm in. And he said, oh, good. Can I do it? And I said, no, I want to be in it. So I took the class with an improv hero of mine, because that idea, I should do something that scares me.
Right.
Do something that scares you. Otherwise, you're not going to grow. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to do that.
And that's something, because right now, improv is kind of the hot word to have on your resume and all that kind of thing. And I think
it's very easy to type.
It's very easy to type.
Groundlings on your resume.
It's so easy, and a lot of people put groundlings on there and never gone to the class. But if you're able to specifically talk about who you trained with, I think that's valuable, because the people who know who that is will be like, oh, I know where your thought process is coming. Like I studied with Chris Barnes.
Yes.
So people are like, oh, Barnes.
Oh, yes.
I know Barnes. Arigato. That's the way it is. So you have to, I think it's not just the school. I think you have to think about the teacher as well.
I think very much so. The teacher's very important. And to know when to leave the teacher.
Yes.
To go
Oh my God,
grow
yes.
somewhere else. You got to stress your system in order for it to get stronger. You just have to. And we're already stressing it by doing this as a career.
Right.
And we're already stressing our parents by doing this as a
So
career.
much. So much.
Those who still talk to us parent-wise. So you might as well stress yourself, because that's the only way you're going to have a bolder, more vibrant thing emerge out of you.
Yeah.
Isn't Julie Cobb a part of your ensemble, or am I?
No, she might have been, because I've only been there for about 5 years. So there might be, maybe it's 4 years now.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I know you guys have a couple of people with really big credits on the resume, like people that are kind of household names.
There are a number of folks in our company who I grew up learning how to be an actor in front of. I mean, I hopefully none of them are watching right now, but I can talk to my brother about Robert Pine. I can say, Robert Pine, who my brother and I grew up watching Chips, and I'm like, that's Robert.
Love that show.
And then I do a play with him last fall. And
Isn't that the
it
best?
just touches inside. It's the same thing that I have, the same experience I have when I work with Gary Marshall at the Falcon Theater or with the Troubadour Theater Company over there. I'm like, it's Gary.
Yeah.
It's Robert Pine. Or I can talk about Harry Groener with my parents and say, remember when you took me to Crazy for You at the National Theater in Washington, D.C. in 19... And remember when before Harry went to Broadway and got his Tony nomination? Yeah. We just did a reading last night. That kind of thing. Or his wife, Dawn Didowick. I mean, we've got... I could go through a list of people of Claudette Nevins and Greg Itzen and Peter Van Norden and these folks who I've kind of cut my teeth watching and wanting to work with. And now... They could be the ones who put me up on a pillory and say, get out of this company, you can't run it anymore. but at least in the meantime, I can play with them around a table with a reading or in a production.
Mm-hmm.
They're phenomenal. They're a phenomenal bench.
And
I wouldn't be a co-artistic director unless I believed in that bench.
Of course, absolutely.
And you think that what were you going to say?
Well, and I think it also when you're meeting and working with people that you consider to be your heroes, and it also, I think, humanizes the whole experience and reminds you that you do have to keep doing this work if you want to stay current and working and relevant.
Yes.
And well, because Armin was on, and my dad, who had no idea at all who he was at all. I mean, he's never watched anything Star Trek at all. Right?
Or Buffy,
Shimmerman.
apparently.
Or Buffy, right?
Or Armin
never
Shimmerman,
watched
yes.
Armin Shimmerman, yes. So, and it was hilarious because we mentioned, my dad and I talked about how we were in a production of Annie, and that was like my dad. That was like how we bonded when I was 9. Is that he was Cordell Hull in the cabinet scene, and like during the break, Armin says, my friend was in the original cast of Annie, and was like talking to my dad about the whole thing, and it was one of those moments. I'm like, you know what, that's how. I don't know. It just brought it home of like, everybody has that community aspect of theater, and how it's still a connection to another person.
Yes.
And that to me was that I'm like, all right, I'm a fan for life. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also
looking forward to working with you.
It's also that generational thing too that you get to pass down the knowledge from the generations.
Yeah.
If you pay attention to that sort of thing, sometimes there's something to be learned.
Yeah,
in those who came before you.
I love looking up dance videos. For instance, I love watching Nicholas Brothers videos
yes.
because I'm a tapper, and that acrobatic mode of it. I think there's something. And Eleanor Powell, I'm just if I'm have time to kill, I'll just watch her because there's something so magnetic about the way she attacked every role, and so I, of course, don't get to meet her, but
but you do on YouTube.
I do. Yes,
get as close as you could. Yes.
What do you think makes NTS different than other theater companies in Los Angeles outside of the partner casting aspect?
That's a good question. I think it's the bench. The NTS is the company. The talents of the company, whether they're actors or directors or designers or choreographers, the folks who are on that, the company is what makes it, I think, pretty spectacular place.
Because you guys are a real family, or
it's
a
family.
Talent.
It's a family, and it's a level of talent. It's a community more than anything else, is what it feels like. Which is why we believe very strongly, and we try to make our audiences and our students who study with us feel like they're part of that community. It's hard enough out here in Los Angeles.
Ain't it though?
It's the loneliest town you'll ever live in if you're not careful. And you'll find yourself after a day at your day job going home and sitting and watching a Game of Thrones marathon. No problem with that, by the way. It's all good for us. But it's hard to build a community out here because it's such a spread out, lonely city. So you need to find your communities the same way you need to find your gym. This is kind of an artistic gym.
Yeah.
Got to work those muscles out, or they get old and sloppy and they fall apart. So having a good community to go to, I think, is important. And it doesn't have to be Antioch. It can be any community, any place that you believe in the work they're doing. That's essential for survival out here. And I don't mean just survival. I mean surviving in a mentally healthy way and in a happy heart way.
Yes.
You've got to find a way to do that because LA can be really brutal to you otherwise. You got to take care of yourself and find places that do. Sometimes it's restaurants.
Sometimes. That's true.
Or Bullet Bourbon.
Or Bullet Bourbon.
Or seeing every production of Annie that is performed ever anywhere, which you and I should talk about because we might have that in common.
Well, okay. Wait. Anyway, what's up next at Antioch stage-wise?
We have a production of an Alice Childress play called Wedding Band, which is subtitled A Love-Hate Story in Black and White. It was first done, I think, in 1966. She wrote it in 1962. It's set in South Carolina, 1918. It's about an interracial relationship.
Do you know where specifically in South Carolina by any chance?
I don't. I don't think she's... I may be wrong about this, but I don't think she's specific about where it is.
Okay.
But if we looked up her hometown, we could probably guess it's close.
Yeah.
It's a pretty spectacular play. Verilyn Jones, company member at Antioch, initiated the project, and Greg Daniel is directing it. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful piece and completely current, as you can imagine, with the idea of marital rights. That's our next show. That's what we'll finish up the year with. And then we just announced the 2015 season. How'd it get to be 2015?
I know.
Boy. So we're starting off with Henry IV, Part 1, directed by Michael Murray, who's a company member at Antioch. We move in from that to William Inge's Picnic.
Love it.
Me too.
Awesome.
Beautiful, beautiful play. And don't think that you know it because you know the movie. It's not that. It's the play. Directed by Cameron Watson, who just directed Top Girls for us earlier this year. And then we'll close out the year next year with Anton Chekhov's Uncle Vanya. Some translation of it, we're figuring that out. Chekhov's Uncle Vanya, directed by Robin Larson, who directed Mrs. Warren's Profession for us last season. So we've got a year of Shakespeare, Chekhov, and Inge.
Hey.
And it should be fun. We'll try to dust them off and see why these stories are still meaningful.
See, I remember watching Vanya at Northwestern with Catherine Hahn. Did you
Oh,
see that?
Catherine. I miss
She was
Catherine.
really good.
Yes.
Because she was always kind of like these rough and tumble characters, but with that, she was, the Yelena Nails and
Mhm.
that stuff, and it was really,
Vanya's a beautiful
Right.
play.
and it was. Oh, he changed. I'm sorry, I don't know his stage name. Mike Rubenstein.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, he was
Absolutely.
Vanya. So that was great. It rained on stage. It was fun.
Awesome.
It's really cool. I think I built some of that.
If you were at Northwestern, you built some of something.
I did. I built most of La Liaison. I remember that. So.
Sounds like a really well-rounded season.
I
at
hope
NTS.
so.
Yes.
I hope so.
Very
I
nice.
think it'll be interesting. We want to do Henry IV with a smaller cast.
Mhm.
See if we can do it with 8 or 10 people and playing all the roles.
Ooh.
Yeah, which I think is great and maybe even a little Brechtian. Who knows? Yes, I said Brechtian and Aeschylus today. It's too. It's a Saturday. I have to
Rob
get those
Niggle,
things
everybody.
out. Thank you
Rob
very much.
Niggle.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be well-rounded. It's going to be fun.
And
Yeah.
how do you handle? And I used to be one of these people, and I've since changed my mind since Theater Plus days. But how do you handle somebody who says, "Well, you guys are a dues-paying company. Why do I need to pay to act?" What? How would you handle a question like that? What would you say to someone?
We make. This is what I would say after initially smacking you. No, I would initially say I wouldn't smack you. I would say what I do is a craft. I'm an actor. It's what I mean, I don't use the word art very much because I just think it's pretentious, but it's a craft, and sometimes the person I'm selling that craft to can afford to pay for it. Sometimes what it's worth, never what it's worth. Sometimes they can pay a good deal of money, and sometimes they can't. And sometimes it's a barter situation where
Mhm.
they give me a chicken or a bottle of bullet bourbon. I set my prices, and I'm willing to give my craft in whatever way is important to me. So without going down this metaphor train too far, sometimes we're paid really well for our acting work, and many times we are not. But that doesn't mean we should stop acting. And if we do not find a way to fulfill that and use that muscle, it dies for the world to see.
Mm-hmm.
Along with the idea of Martha Graham, it's lost forever. So if you don't find a way of using it, you are depriving the world of a gift. And sometimes I'm going to make an amazing amount of money for a job that is very simple, and it's a camera rolling, and it shows up, and everybody's like, "Oh, I saw you on that show on the network." And sometimes I'm going to be doing it for no money in a backroom theater. Don't tell the union; they gave me a stipend. It's going to be $12 or $15. I don't want to deprive that part of me or anybody who's watching it of the chance to see it. The dues paying is part of the rent that we pay at the theater because we don't have donors who can help afford. Some places in town have $1 a rent a year. I wish I knew where they were and how I could get in.
Seriously.
Sure.
Well, you have to find people who believe in the work that you do to pay your rent.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes to rent. It goes to the payroll of your employees. I'm sure some of it.
Yes, we have between 150 and 160 members of the ensemble and of A2.
Ooh.
And of those members, if we use just the dues money for the year, we'd be closed in about 3.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Having not done a production, having just paid rent.
Right.
So it's a minimal. It's like a gym membership at our
Yeah.
place.
Sure.
No, I know you want to be able to work out on that equipment, and that you're
And-
part of this company because we've worked out here before. But we have to pay for the water coming out when you get overheated. So I think of it as a gym membership more than anything else.
Yeah.
But the other issue is another one: the whole idea of equity waiver theater, which I'm a proponent of. I'm a proponent of because I believe that we need to be able to do this.
I agree. That's a whole nother show.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a whole other show. The Annie show we got to do, and the whole
Yeah,
other
the
show
Annie
about
show.
waiver and actors being paid for their work. Sometimes you get paid really well, and then hopefully you sock that money away so that when you want to, you can give it away for closer to free.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
So remember the idea that we talked about, like the Annie and the well,
Mhm.
let me put it this way: my husband has a version of a draft of something to send to you
Involving Annie?
involving Annie. It's
I
very
don't even
hilarious.
know where to go with
I
that.
know.
Okay, I'm very
It's very
excited for its
I'm
receipt.
going to leave you with that. 'cause I gotta go. I have a callback.
Cliffhanger. Hey,
Yes.
have a great callback.
Break a
Thank
leg.
you.
break
That's
a leg.
wonderful. Bye.
I'll move over into Dorothy's seat.
That was such a suspenseful cliffhanger of a goodbye. I can't. Oh, now my brain is spinning. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
That's funny. and I can't figure out what that would be.
Hi, Rob.
Hello.
It's just you and me.
Oh, thank God you.
Oh, I know. Now we can talk about her. So what would you say you would want people to know about Antaeus? If you could pick one or two things, what would you want the Los Angeles theater community to know?
Oh, good question. If I think I'll go back to what I said before, that if you're feeling like a place where you can study some stories that are either classic or have enduring themes, we've got an incredible library of resources, literally a library, a wall of plays.
Yes.
I've never seen anything like that in a theater in LA. And in fact, we've got a garage. We've got Armin Shimmerman's garage is filled with another bunch of another twice the library size. So we just don't have the space for.
Oh, awesome.
So if you want a place to study or kind of tap back into your roots along the idea of the Titan Antaeus, we're a great place.
Can people go in there that aren't company members?
Well, we don't have an open door policy, but we hope to one day have that. We want to be able to build a library where we can. It can be a service to the community in the same way that the Lincoln Center Library is a service to, you can go watch videotapes of that production that you had always heard about.
Yes.
We hope to one day have that. We don't have it yet. And if you want to see some really good actors doing their work, I think we've got a good group. There are lots of theaters around town where you can do that, though. You just have to find them.
There is.
You may stumble into a lot of others along the way, but you'll have to find them.
And I like the fact that Antaeus, you guys are a classical theater company, but you have personality over there. You do your videos, your YouTube videos. Can you tell people about those?
We are beyond fortunate to have in the company Etta Devine and Gabe Diani, who are a brilliant couple of comedian writers, performers, directors, producers. They kind of do it all. They're multi-hyphenates. And they help us with these videos, which are sometimes irreverent, definitely silly, and have gotten so much attention from people who wouldn't have found us otherwise.
The naked one is funny.
Last year we had a bunch of members of the company naked because we needed costumes and we needed the money to pay for them. That was Gabe and Etta are in some ways our patron saints of the funny videos, and we do a bunch of videos with them each year whenever they can fit us into their schedule.
Yeah.
But
we should add that there was pixelation.
Yeah, there was pixelation, very appropriate pixelation of the nudity.
Yes.
In the videos, but
you guys have a personality. You're not stodgy or nose up in the air.
Well, as soon as you hear
theater company,
you hear classical theater company, and you all of a sudden think of there's something that comes to mind, and it can be not the kind of energy we want to put out there. We want to let everybody know we don't take ourselves too seriously,
right?
And we have some personality sometimes, and that the classics don't have to be old and boring. They can resonate for you as if they were written yesterday, even if it was 500 years ago.
Yeah, not at all.
They can also feel like a 500-year-old play that you just had to sit through. So try to find a way to make them come alive.
Yeah. There's a few classical theater companies in LA, but I think that you guys are the only ones that do your own takes on the classics. I think the other classical theater companies stick to the formula.
I don't know if that's true or not, and I'd probably get in trouble if I said that I think you're right, but I like to think that we take some risks.
Yeah.
At Antaeus, that's for sure.
Yeah. And if I'm wrong, my apologies to whatever classical theater companies out there.
That's okay. You'll just have to have them on.
Yeah, I know. Make up for it.
Talk to them for a little while about it.
Yeah.
I didn't ever think I'd find myself in a classical theater company as a part of one or running one. So I'm as surprised as anybody, but I'm really glad I'm there.
Yeah, they're very lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
We have about a minute left. Yeah. So where can people find out information about
Antaeus?
Give out the website?
Sure. The website is www.antaeus.org. ANTAEUS. Antaeus.org. And you can always send me an email at rob@antaeus.org. I'm out there too.
Awesome.
And I respond to that. It may take me a few days, but I'll respond.
And where can people find information about you personally as an actor?
That's very kind of you. robnagel.com. It's a very egocentric website.
Yeah.
Because it's my name. ROBN as in November, AG as in golf, LE.com.
No more pretentious than BrettChapin.com.
I'll visit yours if you'll visit mine.
I will.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brett. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Rob Nagel from the Antaeus Theater Company, co-artistic director at Antaeus. NTS.org for information on them. And, Dorothy is not with us. Normally, this is the part where I say this is Dorothy Dillingham Blue, but
that was so cool though. That's something that happened, reality wise. You're an actor, and you get a call from your agent saying, "Look, you got a job. You got a job to go to right then, and you got to get up and roll.
Run with it. Yeah,
you got to go with it." That's the adrenaline, I guess. If I can't pronounce it.
Adrenaline. You're right.
You know what I mean? That you actors have and love to have. They love to get that call.
And she might be changing wardrobe in the car right now.
In the car.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite sure she's like, and her mind is like getting all focused for that audition to be like in the moment, boom, when she walked through that door, that audition door, boom, so she can be prepared. And I envy you guys. I think I don't know if I could do that type of pressure.
I have a premonition that we're gonna come in next week and she's gonna say I got the part that I left early to go to. I think she's gonna do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have an image of her with a blow dryer and the cigarette lighter right now, going down the 405 on her way to the audition.
Done.
Got to be ready.
Well,
always prepared.
She's gonna have good news and wet hair next week.
Wet hair, exactly.
Yeah.
Bucket.
And
Can't
so
wait.
am I, apparently. Ice Bucket Challenge next week on La La Land, along with Ben Hill, the founder and executive artistic director at the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Big show next week. Looking forward to talking to him. Thank you so much, Rob Nagel, for joining us this week.
Thank you, Brett.
If you want to find information about us, go to facebook.com/LaLaLandTalk, Twitter at twitter.com/LaLaLandTalk, or you can send us an email at lalalandtalk@gmail.com. And until next week, I am Brett Chapin, and this is La La Land on LA Talk Live. We'll see you at the top.